Today we're going to be recreating the assassination of Charlie Kirk with a ballistics dummy. I also made 4 ballistics necks out of ballistics gel and cow bone that we're going to shoot as well. The purpose of this video is to poke holes in the FBI's official story that Charlie Kirk was shot in the neck by a 30-06. Anyone that's familiar with the cartridge knows that a 30-06 is an extremely devastating round, often ripping through elk, deer, and moose bones. Yet somehow, according to the FBI, Charlie Kirk's neck was able to stop that bullet, causing no exit wound. Keep in mind, human bones are weaker than deer, elk, and moose bone, and especially a human neck because by its very nature, it's flexible and not connected well. So to make this video even better, I decided to go out and make some models of a human neck for us to shoot in addition to the ballistics dummy. To make these necks, I went to my local butcher and got some cow femur bone, which is much thicker, larger, and stronger than a human neck bone. For a mold, I used 6-inch drain pipe, which by the way, the average human neck is 5 inches. I then cut it into 4 sections. Not sure why I didn't do this outside though. I then capped the pipe, sealing it with tape, and mixed up some good old ballistics gel on the stove, just like Mom used to make. After putting the bones in the pipe mold, I poured the ballistics gel over the bones and stuck them in the fridge to cure for 36 hours. Now to get this assassination recreation exactly perfect, I wanted to imitate the exact angle and distance of the shot. Charlie Kirk's neck was at a 42-degree angle right before he was shot. The elevation was 35 feet, which at the distance of 137 yards equates to about a 5-degree difference. So I decided to place all the objects that I was going to shoot at a 40-degree angle. Why not a 37-degree angle, you might ask? Well, I figured 40 degrees was good enough. It's slightly more than the actual angle of his neck, and the measurement that we have might not be 100% perfect, so to keep everything nice and even and round, I just went with a 40-degree angle. To get everything I was shooting at a 40-degree angle, I decided to make some stands. I drove around until I found some pallets abandoned outside of a business and took them back to my apartment. I then took the pallets apart and cut some wedges at exactly a 40-degree angle and made some stands. Then I cut the necks out of the pipe, outside this time, and screwed the bones inside the neck to the stands and let them chill in the fridge until the next morning. The next day I went down to the gun club that I joined to make this video at the 150-yard berm. I got some Federal Blue Box 180 grain soft point hunting ammo. Strangely, the FBI hasn't told us what kind of round Tyler Robinson was using, so this is what I picked up, just a standard hunting round. Now some of you might say maybe he was using a full metal jacket round, or maybe he was using some sort of low powder subsonic round. That doesn't really make any sense. Why would you not go for a round that's going to give you the maximum amount of damage? Why would you go for a full metal jacket that's not going to make a large wound cavity? Why would you go for a castrated subsonic round because you're afraid of the recoil? That just doesn't make any sense. So I just decided to use some standard hunting ammunition. This video is intended as educational and not to mock the death of Charlie Kirk. I got the first 2 necks set up and then took the first shot. In slow motion, we can actually see that the bone not only didn't deflect the bullet, but it exploded into several pieces. Keep in mind, the FBI's official story is that Charlie Kirk's neck deflected the bullet down into his heart. Somehow, I have a hard time believing that. Now let's take shot number 2. In slow motion, we can see I was slightly less accurate on this one, shooting it in the bottom right corner, sending it flying, spinning in the air, and knocking half the ballistics gel off the bone. It also sent debris about 20 feet away. As the first neck set on the table, it actually split open before I could get down there and check it out. Here on the left we can see the one that I shot in the corner and the bullet mark that went right through the gel. Being as the other one was exploded, I went looking for pieces of it and found one here on the railroad tie. The other piece I found back here laying on the berm. Looks pretty destroyed to me. For our next test on the right here, we have what I call a Superneck, which is a cow femur bone and 3 cow rib bones inside our ballistics gel. And on the left we have a Old Roy dog chew bone, Still a cow femur, but it is smoked, so it's about 10% weaker than a regular bone from the butcher. And we're going to put this one at a slight offset angle here. Once again, unlike Charlie Kirk's neck, the cow femur bone is completely destroyed by the 30-06 bullet. Now on to the Superneck. Well, this is embarrassing. I shot it on the top left, and not enough to penetrate the bone at all, just slightly grazed it.
Oh, I got the side of it there. Looks like, yep, came in right at the side. God damn it. Well, we'll redo that one. That is embarrassing. This one got absolutely demolished, though. This is the dog one. The dog bone. Still quite a bit stronger than a human neck. Look at that.
All right, now the moment everyone's been waiting for. We're going to shoot this dummy and we're going to redo the neck. You see we've got the dummy slightly offset there to mimic Charlie's position from Tyler, and the dummy's at that 40-degree angle. Now keep in mind, Charlie was holding his head up and the dummy is just straight up and down, so that 40-degree angle is very extreme on the dummy here. Well, this time it looks like we got her basically dead on the money. Once we get down there and check that neck out, all 4 bones inside of there were completely broken in half. Alright guys, I'm going to apologize in advance because we're only going to have one camera angle for the dummy shooting. And that is because one of the phones that I was using to record downrange actually ran out of storage space while it was recording after about 45 minutes. So apologies on that.
There's our lucky bullet. Let's hope we don't miss.
Okay, so what exactly happened here? At the range, what I thought happened was I shot him here and the bullet went through his skull and dislocated the skull that way. What actually happened after I reviewed the footage and then reviewed the dummy was the bullet struck him here, it went down through this way and down his back. And what you see if you slow that footage of the dummy getting shot down is you see the head expand, you see the jaw expand, you see the spine go back, you see 100% of that bullet's energy get transferred onto the dummy, and it basically breaks every bone in his face. Because of how devastating that 30-06 round is. I really wish we had the B cam where we would see the other angle, because then that would show us the face getting blown off. It was actually probably very similar to what happened to JFK, ironically, but at the range I thought it went through like that, so I just kind of put it to bed, and then I ended up plinking on the dummy a couple more times before taking him home. So let's watch that.
Did we get it went through his head. Oh man. There's the skull.
You can see the amount of internal pressure that bullet generated.
You see how he's sitting? You see how he's sitting at this angle? You know, we're really just a couple inches off. Where'd this other one go? Oh yeah, here's this other one. Look at this. That is amazing. All the ribs. There's 1, 2. I don't know where the third rib is. Do you guys see the third rib? I don't. Oh, look at that. Look at how it ripped that guy apart. This was a huge, look at that. Completely ripped apart. These ballistics neck tests are more telling than the dummy over there. Because this is so much stronger than a human neck. Look at that. It completely ripped the neck apart. Completely ripped it apart.
And of course, because this was a $300 dummy, I had to get a couple more pot shots in on it.
Okay, so this is actually nuts, guys. I didn't notice this until I started rewatching the footage. The bullet, the first bullet, struck right here on the eye and went through. You can see it right there. It went between the cheekbone, and then it went down here, and there it is right there.
So after discovering this, I cut the dummy open where the bullet was and tried to get it out, but then it flew out of the hole and you can hear it land in the background.
I just heard something.
Eventually, I found that bullet fragment as well as another one that I dug out of the dummy. So what's the conclusion of the ballistics dummy test? Well, I gotta say, at first I was a little upset that I didn't quite hit the dummy right in the neck and hit its spine like I'd intended to. I probably shouldn't have put the dummy at that 40-degree angle because there wasn't much neck showing, just maybe an inch or two. The face was right there. I should have put him up a little bit and given myself more room to hit that neck. You know, those ballistic necks were 6 to 8 inches of ballistics gel, so they were much easier to hit. But after a while, I thought it was kind of cool because what that test actually showed was, because the bullet didn't exit, we saw fragments of the bullet still inside the dummy. So I would imagine that bullet went in and started, it probably fractured right here and fractured into a bunch of pieces when we shot it, and then it went through his head, just ripping everything apart. The pressure in there, it ripped the skull off the spine, and it ripped the base of the skull off the brain. And it just shows you, because it really broke every single bone in that dummy's face as well as decapitated it. What that test shows you is what happens when 100% of a 30-06 bullet gets transferred onto a human target, because the bullet didn't leave the target, but it did break every single bone in the head, as well as decapitate it. So that is kind of a neat test. The ballistics neck tests, all of them went through, all of them punched right through. Even the big femur bone with the 3 ribs in front of it, it blew right through that. So I think we can safely say that Tyler Robinson did not use a 30-06 to shoot Charlie Kirk. Tyler Robinson likely didn't shoot Charlie Kirk. He's likely a patsy. He was probably chosen for some other reason besides the caliber of rifle that he owned. You know, he was involved in these left-wing Discord chats, and maybe he was somehow tricked into doing some things that would implicate him in this, and then they planted that rifle wrapped in a used towel to further implicate him. When he initially was arrested, he didn't confess. He didn't confess for like 2 weeks. Not to mention all the other inconsistencies around Tyler Robinson, like the fact they say he changed clothes 3 different times the day of the shooting, that he had never been to the UVU campus and somehow managed to walk on the campus with a rifle shoved down his pants or in his backpack and find this spot and take the shot. You know, he disassembled his rifle and then reassembled it up on the roof. You know, and this is somebody that has no military or tactical training. I've seen videos on YouTube of these Marine Scout snipers and special ops guys talking about, you know, entry and exit plans for an operation like this are very complicated. You know, and Tyler Robinson, this 20-year-old dude, just somehow manages to pull it off. It's very unlikely. So comment down below and let me know your theories on what really happened to Charlie here. You know, my last video I made where I promised to do this ballistics dummy test, I said if I got over 10,000 views that I would buy the dummy and do the test. I got 190,000 views. I got so many likes, so many positive comments. You guys showed me so much love. I really tried to make this video special for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sure there's so many of you that can shoot better than me, that have something to say about my shooting ability. That's great. More power to you. I am not a firearms channel. I'm not a firearms expert, and I hadn't shot a gun in a couple years before I made this video. So if you guys got some enjoyment out of this video, I would really appreciate a like or a subscription to the channel. It really helps me out, and I hope I've showed that the FBI is once again lying.
Thanks.